Saudi Arabia, a country famous as the global capital of Islam, might not always be famous as a country where Muslim faithful converge now and then. This isn't because Muslims from all around the world will stop visiting this country, but simply because Saudi Arabia might soon be strongly associated with mind-blowing advancements in technology. Of course, technology will not replace Islam, but in a bid to focus on other means of revenue other than oil, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is investing in a smart city. This city, known as The Line, is like nothing you've ever seen, and is just a part of an even bigger project known as NEOM. The Line is a 500-meter-high and 170-meter-long building that'll stretch across 106 miles. This city is one that you could mistake for a metaverse project. Well, this project is as real as it gets, and is simply a product of extremely advanced architecture. It would have seemed normal if the line was being built in the UAE, as this country is already home to some of the most daring buildings on the planet. But this time, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has decided to house the most mind-blowing city on the planet, and this project is one worth knowing about. The line is quite far from becoming a reality, but is gradually coming alive. Although you're probably just getting to know about this smart city, talks about the line as we have it today first became public in 2021, when Mohammed bin Salman made an announcement about the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia working on developing a city that has only been imagined, and is quite related to the cities in sci-fi themed movies. The line is huge, and is perhaps the biggest project you've been exposed to yet. But as big as this project is, it's just a fraction of an even bigger project known as NEOM. There's a lot to be said about NEOM, but that's a topic for another day. This video is all about the line, what it is, and all you need to know about it. We'll go on with this video in a moment, but in the meantime, kindly smash the share and like buttons. Also, hit the bell button to avoid missing our other videos. Moving on. If you've ever dreamt of living in a city with no cars being driven around, then you just might want to live in the line. This is easier said than done, as the city might not be so cheap to live in. Well, if you don't have the financial muscle needed to own an apartment in the city, there are no rules that say you can't visit. This city, which occupies an area around the Red Sea's north, is designed to be eco-friendly, so there will be no cars. This appears cool, but if you fall into the category of people who can't do without driving, you might struggle to live here. As strange as living in a city with no cars is, it's just one of the unusual things about it. Another thing that's quite unusual about this city is it doesn't have any streets. This is just another thing you'll have to get used to if you have a place in this city. The line was designed to house up to 9 million people. That's a lot. And as interesting as housing 9 million people sounds, there will be other beings in the city that are not humans. If at this point you're beginning to think of aliens having a part of the city, you've taken things too far. As futuristic as the city might be, it has no space for aliens. So you have no reason to be worried. If you're still wondering who the other beings that aren't humans might be, well, they're robots. According to a proposal that got leaked, there won't be regular maids in the line. Domestic chores and related activities will be handled by robots. So if you have any plans of getting a place in this city and moving in with your domestic staff, you won't need them. So there will be no need to come up with a budget for their payments. There's more. This city will have an artificial moon. At this point, it's not clear if there's any plan to block out the natural moon, but it won't be needed. If for some reason the thought of an artificial moon excites you, that's probably all you'll be getting when it comes to artificial lighting. There will be no artificial stars or sun, so you might not want to look forward to them. Everyone who's seen a couple of sci-fi movies probably has a mental picture of what the line will be like, but you don't have a problem if you haven't seen any sci-fi movies. To understand what this city brings to the table, all you need to do is visit Dubai if you can afford to. And if you can't, go on and check out pictures, as the line can easily be said to be an advanced form of Dubai. The idea of the line is just awesome, and you don't need to be a professional project manager to know this. Additionally, it's easy to tell that this project will cost a lot of money and also take a while before being ready. Right now, there are questions about the cost of this project and how much time is needed to get it ready. As important as these questions might seem, they're not the most important questions anyone should ask as regarding the line. They should come much later. So, what's the biggest question around this project? Well, the biggest question around this project is, why is a city as magnificent as the Line even needed? What exactly is Saudi Arabia looking to achieve? Also, does the Line need to be as futuristic as the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is planning to make it? Now, there are several ways these questions can be answered. But first, you have to understand that the Line isn't just any project. It's part of a much bigger project known as NEOM. While the Line is just a city, the idea behind the creation of NEOM is to build a country within a country. This country is supposed to be self-sufficient and slightly regarded as a different country from Saudi Arabia. Residents of NEOM are supposed to be referred to as Neomites rather than Saudis. Of course, this is quite a funny plan, but that's what the Saudi government's been up to. If you think Saudi Arabia is merely having fun and looking to just spend money because it has so much money, you're wrong. This kingdom is preparing for life without oil, and it's going through a rebranding process. Furthermore, it appears to be picking some inspiration from the UAE. NEOM, and by extension the Line, is part of a project called Vision 2030. This vision is focused on getting Saudi Arabia to look significantly different by the end of the decade. Beyond looking very different, it's not supposed to keep relying on oil, and one way Mohammed bin Salman is looking to achieve this is by giving a lot of attention to real estate. We can talk about the Line all we want, but we have to wait till 2030 to have a look at what it'll be. That's a long time, and it's definitely far away from 2022, when the world first had a visual idea of what the Line would be like. The idea of the Line is to have a city locked up between two long and tall buildings. It's more like a super large passage. While we're still focused on this city and what it'll be like, the buildings it's sandwiched between will be the biggest buildings the world has seen. These buildings will be exactly alike and are supposed to be 200 meters apart. This space between them is supposed to be the city. Since this city has a design that's different from anything you've ever seen, transportation will also be different from what is obtainable in other cities. Based on the design of the Line, residents are supposed to move around via a high-speed rail line. The implication of this is there will be no need for cars or any roads. Well, even in the absence of this high-speed rail line, there still will be no need for cars. This is because schools, offices, public parks, and homes will be in one building, so whatever residents need will be about 5 minutes away. Just like other modern cities, the Line will have huge energy needs. But unlike other modern cities, its energy will be obtained from renewable sources. The Line is still very far from completion, and not much is known about it. Apart from the clear fact that it'll be ready for residents to move in 2030 and physical work will start in 2021, there are still several unknown facts about the Line. The Line probably looks perfect on paper and seems like a city that everyone looks forward to living in. However, there are concerns about how it's going to function. What's the possibility of living in a modern city with no cars, roads, or streets? Can a city that's made up of two very long buildings be built? The city might start on a good note, but what will it look like with time? Will it be properly maintained, and what would be the cost of properly maintaining it? The many concerns associated with this city are very valid, and it would have been nice if there had been actual answers. But anyone looking to get answers to these questions will need a great deal of patience because there are no ready-made answers. This city is the first of its kind, and so is everything it's linked to. The fact is, the engineers in charge of making it a reality have a major challenge on their hands and are supposed to figure things out as they go on with the project. Well, as they figure things out, answers to the many questions surrounding this project will start emerging. Based on what technology has to offer, giving life to a project like the Line is a big challenge. Well, as huge a challenge as it might seem, it's perhaps not the biggest challenge facing this project. There are other challenges this project has to conquer, and the most prominent of them is money-based. You see, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia might be very rich, but smart people know projects like this are not built from a stash of cash. There has to be a concrete financial plan. Of course, Mohammed bin Salman had a big plan when he was looking to start this project. It doesn't quite appear like things are going exactly according to plan. According to research, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has not had a lot of success with attracting funds for this project. While making plans to build the line, a major plan for funding was to get money from private international investors and foreign governments. But it doesn't appear like investors are as interested in the project as envisaged. Unlike other challenges associated with projects as huge as the line, the financial challenges are usually never isolated. They're known to affect other things. You see, the master plan is to complete this project in 2030. However, it doesn't exactly seem like this is achievable. Words from certain quarters seem to suggest that this project might be delayed by up to 20 years and could be ready by 2050. Now, this is quite disheartening for folks who are looking forward to owning an apartment in the line. But beyond this, any delay in this project will end up having a major effect on the amount needed to get things done. This project, which is being funded by the Public Investment Fund or PIF, has not been able to attract as many investors as envisaged. Apart from certain agreements with a couple of foreign firms that will come in handy in building infrastructure, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has not been able to attract a lot of partnerships from investors. And that's a little strange. However, it's a challenge that's as real as challenges get. Speaking about the state of things as regarding the funding of this project, Justin Alexander, the director of Cali Economics, has made it clear what the problem is. In his words, the only major foreign investment announced to date is the green hydrogen plant, and even the PIF-owned Lucid Group has decided to instead locate its electric vehicles factory in King Abdullah Economic City, which has a developed infrastructure and is located close to major population centers. The financial challenge facing this project might be overwhelming, but even if it gets fixed overnight, the line will not automatically become successful, as there are a handful of technological challenges that are being faced. The line project is an attempt to get into the era of the cognitive city from the age of the smart city. This is great. However, the challenges that technology offers will have to be overcome first. Of course, it's not impossible to deal with this challenge. However, it doesn't seem like Saudi Arabia is in a position to handle these technological challenges alone. You see, the world might be hearing about the idea of building a city like the line for the first time. However, this architectural idea is not modern. It goes back to 1956. Several years ago, there was a plan to build the linear city. This city was supposed to sit between Washington and Boston, and it was the idea of Peter Enziman and Miles Graves, two architects from the United States. Several years later, Rem Koolhaas, another architect from the United States, had a plan to build a city with similar features to the line. Well, at this point, it's obvious none of them saw the light of day. If they had, the line would not be treated like a novel project. Right now, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is walking a path that others have walked and have failed. So they definitely will face some challenges, and they just might have to get some help if they want to have a significant win. Technical and financial challenges are the most significant challenges that the line will face. But there's one more challenge that's worth taking note of. This challenge is social. The line is a part of Neom, which is sitting in an area in the northwestern Tabuk province. This land, which generally belongs to the government, is the ancestral land of the Hawatad tribe, and people have owned it for centuries. It's also a farming land, and it turns out members of this tribe were unwilling to release their land to the government. Things got so tense that people even lost their lives. Regardless of this, the government is going on with this project, and not many Saudis are supportive of this move. The issue of the government taking over people's lands is a big one, but it's just one of the pressing social challenges faced by this project. One other social issue the line is dealing with is religion. Certain religious communities in Saudi Arabia are of the idea that Mohammed bin Salman is making the country a secular one, and they believe plans to modernize the country through the construction of this city might be bad for religion. Speaking on the significance of religion on the progress of this project, Omar Munassar, an assistant professor of international relations at Bursa Ula Dag University, said, "Aside from technicalities, the real challenge to Neom is how the kingdom could use it as a symbol for a cultural purpose, particularly secularism. which would have to be tolerated by the entrenched clerical authority. Thus, the issue of ideational incompatibility of NEOM will not surface until the project is ready for service. How will the line affect Saudi Arabia? The motivation behind building the line is a good one, there's no doubt about it. But how beneficial is this project? The line surely comes with some benefits. Well, it doesn't come with only benefits. It also has downsides, and as beneficial as it might seem to the Saudi government, it appears its demerits are more than its merits. Some of the goals of the line are to ensure citizens live in a nation that's free from carbon. And that's great, but there's no guarantee this project will meet the goals that it set out to meet. Paul Mortensen, one of the senior urban designers at Montgomery County Planning, doesn't think this project is realistic. Sadly, he thinks it might never get finished. In his words, if you take the specifications of what they're trying to achieve, and that's essentially a very vertical and linear city, it seems like something that'll be a nightmare and a disaster. Also, this project is displacing lots of people, and no one seems to be thinking about where these people will relocate to, or what life will be like for them wherever they go. The line is ultimately a great idea, and one the entire world hopes comes to fruition. But it's as expensive as an idea can get, both in financial costs and otherwise. Also, as much as building a twin city seems very feasible, the idea of flying cars and an artificial moon is still very questionable, and we can only hope Mohammed bin Salman achieves all he set out to achieve. So, what do you think? Will this city come to fruition, or is it a disaster waiting to happen? Kindly tell us what you think in the comments section below. That's a wrap. Thanks for going all the way. See you in the next video.